Hi, and welcome to the Friendship Flow podcast. My name's Katy, and I'll be your host. My hope is to create a space for women entering their wisdom years to learn about friendship from all their own personal experience and create the circle of friends they desire and deserve. I hope to explore this subject with you so that you can explore what friendship means to you in your life. I created a 5-step approach to accomplish just that. 1, self-awareness. 2, connection. 3, boundaries. 4, growth. And 5, joy. Each episode will dive deeply into the steps and how to use them. We all matter. That is what we're talking about today, mattering. Mattering isn't about being someone's favorite person. It's about feeling considered. Today, I'd like to discuss the core concept of mattering and why it's important to friendship. I recently read a book titled Mattering by Jennifer Breheny Wallace, which explains the need to truly feel like we matter to others, not just belonging. We can belong to groups and still not feel like we matter. Earlier in the podcast, we spoke about loneliness. Murthy wrote a book about loneliness, and these two books really intertwined. If you don't feel like you matter, you fall into that realm of loneliness. So not belonging really puts you right into the thick of it with loneliness. Each one of us needs to know we've made a difference to someone. I'm not sure why this is such a growing issue in our society, but I do think it's a lot to do with the changes in our society and social media. I know I remember as a kid, someone would just drop by. I remember Sunday mornings, friends would pop by after church, or, you just didn't know who was behind the door when the doorbell rang. You just opened the door and were happy to see a friend or a neighbor or someone there. Also with the phone, we were tethered to those wall hanging phones with a cord, and you could only go like 10 feet at the most. And so you were in your kitchen talking on the phone, but you didn't know who was on the other end until you picked up the receiver. These societal changes created big changes in how we socialize and interact with each other on a daily basis. Now we all have cameras at our house, so we know when someone is going to come to the door, and we don't visit each other in the same way. We just don't pop over unannounced. We always let the person know when we're going to arrive and things like that. It's just a huge societal change. And now on the phone, you can see who's calling. You can choose not to answer it. You can put it on silent. You can delete. We didn't have those tools then, so you just answered your phone. So, these things really made a difference in how we interact. So it does change the way we feel about ourselves in groups and in society. And I think it really did perpetuate this feeling of not mattering and loneliness. When I was a kid, I'd walk into my grandmother's house and she'd light up and say, "Look who's here. The sunshine's arrived." That greeting was only for me. It made me feel so important and so very loved. All my aunts and cousins would all tease me because that was my special welcoming every time I visited. Now, I'm sure she did something special for them that they remember as well, but this meant so much to me. And with all the other people in her life, she made a point to let me know how special I was to her. My other grandmother also made me feel this way. She had a way with the way she spoke to me and touched me that there was so much warmth and feeling that I knew without a doubt that she loved me. I knew without a doubt each of these women loved me, and there were no bounds to that love. As I grew up, I started to be responsible for my own life, like we do. And I found one must create the opportunities to matter. So, it might not feel right or whatever, but what I mean by that, instead of sitting back in a meeting at work, come up with ways to engage, be curious, ask questions. This gives the group a sense that you want to belong instead of just passively sitting by and waiting for an invitation. In friendship, this can be accomplished the same way by giving your authentic, true concern for the other person. I believe a lot of times we want to be fulfilled externally, but that's just not the way it works. We can't wait for that invitation. We have to jump in. We can and need to create those moments of mattering. We all want and need to matter. So when we start the process ourselves, it takes on a ripple effect. We can teach our friends and family what makes us feel like we matter. And in return, they will know that they matter to us. Creating opportunities isn't about proving worth. It's about connection and engagement, not self-abandonment. We know we matter when we can be quiet and still feel connected. Our joy is celebrated, not minimized, and when our pain doesn't make the other person disappear. When was the last time you felt deeply seen by a friend without asking for it? This is what we want to do for others. Sometimes it's just really simple. It's just, maybe putting a hand on someone's shoulder, maybe extending a smile or asking someone, can I get that for you? Just simple things can tell people that they matter to us. As we move into what I like to think of as the wisdom years, our perspective on mattering often shifts. Roles change, work relationships fade, daily structures fall away, and especially around retirement, that loss in that rhythm and connection can feel quite unsettling. But mattering doesn't end, it evolves. It asks us to reimagine where and how we connect, who we reach for, and how we continue to show up for one another in ways that feel meaningful now. But mattering doesn't end, it evolves. It asks us to reimagine where and how we connect, who we reach for, and how we continue to show up for one another in ways that feel meaningful now. Those times when we feel as if we don't matter and we're getting lonely are the times we need more than ever to step up and create something from the emptiness that we're feeling. An example may be like starting a walking group. I know someone here in town that did just that. She started a walking group. I'm not even sure if she was new to town or she had just retired or found some time on her hands. I'm not sure how it began, but she just put on social media that she'd like to get together. She called it Walk and Sip, and it evolved. People showed up. people were excited to get outside and then socialize after the walk. I've done it myself, and I love it. It's a great way to meet people in town and just to get out of the house when sometimes we need a little bit of motivation. Starting a book club. I belong to 4 book clubs, so it is a thing. Find something you're interested in. A dinner club. I don't belong to a dinner club now, but I have in the past. I belonged to it was a cookbook club, and we would pick a cookbook, and then everybody would make something from that cookbook and would have a dinner. And it was a lot of fun. We came up with themes. We made it fun, but it made you feel a part of something. And sometimes to feel that belonging, that you matter, you have to put yourself out there and take that step. There were 2 stories in the book, Mattering, that struck me. One was about a man who'd moved to a new city, and he invited people for a book club, and no one came. And he didn't stop there, though. He noticed there were lots of dads in the neighborhood, so he started a dad group. He came up with a theme, like a basketball or whatever it was. All the dads came out, played a game, or did an event, whatever it would be, and then they would go out for dinner or coffee afterwards and chat. And he said some people stayed, a long time. Some people said hello to everybody and then got on their way. But it was a place that everybody felt included. And it wasn't there when he moved into town. He didn't know anybody, but he created this space for dads. And I think it even went on to say it became such a big event and so important to these men that even after he had gone his own way, the group continues. So it's a wonderful thing. Another story was about a teacher who was feeling like a failure. And she was feeling like a failure because she couldn't get done what she thought she was supposed to accomplish. And she was taking all the blame on herself. However, she wasn't given the resources to be able to accomplish what she needed to accomplish. So therefore, she felt like a failure. So in her frustration, another teacher came to her and said, this isn't your fault. You're not given the resources. You can't accomplish what, we're expected to accomplish because you're not set up for success. So she knew other people must be feeling this way too. And she got online and created a space for teachers around the world to connect. And it took off. And not only did that give her a sense of mattering, it created a space that others in the same position also had that sense of mattering. If we take the very thing that's making us feel like we don't matter and create a space for others who may be experiencing the same thing, all of a sudden we matter, and so do they. It can be hard to step out of our comfort zone and put something out there that may or may not work. But if we can be persistent, we have a good chance of finding what makes us matter. One of the things I've learned to do with my friends is when we meet up, we find a date that works for both of us to set up the next date. This does a few things. It gets it on the calendar, and it shows that you're committed to the friendship, and it makes it easier to keep up with the friends. I've done this with several of my friends that either we, for whatever reason, there's, we live far away, or we're busy, or just not in the same lifestyle at the time. When we do get together, we make it a point that we're going to get together again. And sometimes that has to get canceled for whatever reason, but always try to show up. It makes a big difference to people that you show up no matter what. And unless I'm sick or something drastically happened to me, I would never cancel an appointment with a friend because it's that important to me. And, you have to give what you want to receive. And I certainly know in my life, I need to be with friends and I need to know they matter and know I matter to them. So I hope that you take a look at where you are in all of this. I hope you're feeling like you're mattering in people's lives. And if you're not, I hope you are able to take a step, even just a little step. Go to the public library, find out what they might have going on. There's so many ways to do this. Look on your town page on social media and see what people are doing, see where they're hanging out, or start something yourself if you don't see what you like. So I hope this helps, and I want you all to know you matter to me, and thank you. And until next time, you can follow me on my Substack, and please follow Elevated Adventures Yoga on Facebook. That's where I post all of the classes, the retreats, the happenings of Elevated Adventures. And we just started a new commitment with Fountain Aesthetics in Cordage Park, where we are now able to do aerial yoga again. And I'm so happy to be back in that space of aerial yoga. So please grab a friend and join us, and hope to see you soon.